What is going on, everybody? I am back today to talk about one of A24's newest movies put out by Danny and Michael Philippou, who both directed the film Talk to Me from A24 that I absolutely loved. I thought that was such an incredible directorial debut. And one of the reasons why I love that movie so much is I feel like, especially with horror in that genre, particularly recently, people are really afraid to go the dark and bleak route and kind of just like pull no punches when it comes to just conveying really dark and disturbing subject matter. And I thought that the way that that film related to trauma and the loss of a parent and things of that nature, it really resonated in a way that stuck with me for a really long time. And on top of that, it had really incredible visuals, great tension, and a phenomenal score. And so I've been really looking forward to their follow up for that. And I know there were some rumors that the follow up initially was going to be the sequel to Talk to Me, but this is a completely independent project. It's something entirely different. And I was also really looking forward to this movie because it stars Sally Hawkins, who I think is a phenomenal actress who has put forth some really amazing performances in her career. In my Watching Every Best Picture series on my channel, I just recently reviewed The Shape of Water, and I talked about her performance in detail. But I think she's a very incredible actress who's put forth a lot of amazing performances in her career, which made me really excited to watch this movie. And the film I'm going to be telling you about today is Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back is directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. Following the death of their father, a brother and sister are introduced to their new sibling by their foster mother, only to learn that she has a terrifying secret. So I was really excited to watch this movie. I was really looking forward to it ever since it was initially announced. And I can say with certainty, this is easily my favorite movie of the year or tied for my favorite movie of the year. This is everything that I love about horror. It is brutal, relentless. It pulls absolutely no punches. It has arguably some of the best performances that I've seen in a movie all year long. The cinematography is insane. There are some of the most gnarly, disgusting practical effects in this movie, especially in one scene in particular that I'm sure you've probably heard some people talk about. It's body horror in the most just like disgusting way that you could possibly imagine. And it's also a really fantastic allegory for grief and trauma. And I think that the way that the characters are depicted is really fantastic. And I'm excited to tell you a little bit about it today. So at the beginning of the movie, we are introduced to Andy, played by Billy Barratt, and Piper, played by Sora Wong. And the two of them are brother and sister, and they live at home with their father. And Piper, we see, has some kind of disability. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they specifically mention what it is, but whatever's happened with her, she's almost completely blind. She's able to make out certain shapes and different things. But as we learn early on in the movie, a lot of the kids at school are incredibly mean to her because of the appearance of her eyes. But she's such a sweet and wonderful kid, and her brother genuinely loves her a lot. You can tell that he's very protective of her, and he really wants to make sure that she's constantly taken care of. Well, the two of them come home from school one morning, and their father, who I believe it's inferred that he was struggling with cancer, falls over in the shower and dies. And they walk in and they find that, and they're both completely and totally shocked. Well, they obviously get put into foster care services, and they are told that a woman wants to adopt Piper, but not Andy. And Andy kind of like talks to the foster care agent, says, "Listen, I'm almost 18 years old. I'm going to apply to be Piper's parental guardian as soon as I turn 18. There's no reason to split us up. I can be good." It's because he has a troubled past. He says, "I can be good for 3 months. I'll take her, and then we're going to go live our own life." And so the foster care worker reluctantly agrees. And they drive to meet Laura, who is played by Sally Hawkins, who at first seems to be incredibly inviting, but she definitely likes Piper a lot more than Andy. And as we learn early on in the movie, Laura lost her daughter in a horrible, horrible accident where she drowned in the pool in their backyard. And she is distraught by this, and she's never seemed to really be able to overcome it. And so because of that, she has adopted young Oliver, who is very quiet. He doesn't hardly speak at all. He lives outside of the house, out back in this like shed area. And the kids both find it to be incredibly weird. Well, as their time living with Laura continues, things get weirder and weirder. And the entirety of the film is these two siblings trying to figure out what is going on with Laura, why is she acting so strange, and what does it have to do with Oliver being there and the death of her daughter. So, like I said, I loved everything about this movie. It's everything that I love about horror movies in general, and I can't wait to talk to you about it today. For starters, every performance in this movie is incredible. I'm going to start with Sally Hawkins, though. What a performance! She does such an amazing job playing evil and awful in this movie, while also, as an audience member, you being able to comprehend the struggle of her character and the things that she's gone through and the loss that she's experienced. So there's moments where you absolutely hate her, but there's also moments where you can feel a genuine form of sympathy for her because of understanding the loss that she's experienced. And I think that really takes an amazing caliber actor to be able to pull off. And she really just blew me away in this movie. Like, I couldn't get over how incredible her performance was and how many amazing scenes that she has, and just like the actions of her character throughout the film, just really surprising the lengths that she's going to do this one very specific thing. And that's what I liked so much about this movie. I feel like she was really what helped keep it so exciting and engaging and entertaining. The young talent in this movie also was fantastic. Billy Barratt, who played Andy, I loved his performance in this movie. I feel like when we learn about the trauma that he's experienced associated with his father and how it relates to his stepsister and all of the things in his life, just he really does an amazing job, not just conveying it through his dialogue, but through the way his body reacts to certain situations. Like, trauma is such a palpable thing, and I think watching someone experience it on screen, it's a testament to a great actor when it seems like they're experiencing that in real time. And I was just very appreciative of his performance because you could almost like feel that lived trauma through him in every single scene. And I loved Sora Wong's performance as Piper. Obviously, she is this character who's dealing with this almost complete blindness. But what I liked so much about her character is she never lets that get in the way of her life. She's a very strong, tries to be as independent as she possibly can, and she's clearly very smart. And I just loved the way that they portrayed her character as like, this is a product of circumstance in her life, but it doesn't define her. Like, she is her own person. And I really liked, like, her brother is incredibly protective of her, but she only lets him do so much. She wants to do things on her own. She wants to be independent. And I thought that's so true to so many different families that deal with people who have certain levels of disabilities and things in their lives that can make day-to-day life a little bit harder to experience. And I think adding that into the story sort of like amped up the stakes, like just really a phenomenal performance on her part. And Jonah Wren Phillips, who plays Oliver, the young boy, wow, what a fearless performance. There is some truly disturbing stuff that he had to do in this movie that really kind of took me by surprise, especially when it comes to some of the body horror in this movie, like really just gnarly, nasty stuff that I like. Not a lot gets me anymore, but there's one scene in this movie that I almost had to turn my head from the screen because it was making me so sick. Like, it was really just nasty and disgusting, and his performance is a lot of why it works so well. The cinematography in this is incredible, very similar to Talk to Me. A lot of really amazing editing choices. I love kind of the muted color palette in this movie. It really adds to the overall tone of the movie. There's a lot to do with circles in this, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but I thought it was really brilliant the way that they use circles in this, not just through the characters' actions or like drawing the circles like you see in the poster, but a lot through architecture and certain things, where we see the circle repeated over and over again, and the way that the camera lingers on it. I just thought it was very brilliant, and it added a lot to the movie. And there's a lot of really great shots in this. And also, when horrific things are happening, the patience of the cinematographer to allow you to experience it in real time is what makes it so visceral and unsettling. And similar to Talk to Me, this also has a really fantastic score that I think accompanies the movie really well. Going back to the cinematography. There's like some handheld video camcorder footage in this that I think adds to the sort of eerie and ominous aesthetic that the movie is going for, that just makes it feel more real, which makes it all the more unsettling. And like I said, there's a lot in this movie about family trauma, especially when it comes to Andy's relationship to his father and the relationship the two of them had and how he kept it secret from his sister. And there's a lot of different things that it touches on when it comes to experiencing that trauma and attempting to live with it and how it sort of impacts your life. And there's also a really resonant theme about how grief can consume a person. Sometimes when we lose someone, the hardest thing when you lose someone that you love so much is you cannot bring them back to life. No matter, how many movies you watch about people trying to conjure demons or things to bring a person back to life, it is impossible to do that. When a person dies, they're gone. And the hardest thing for us to deal with when someone dies is just coming to terms with that. And some people can't. Some people can't hold on to the memories they have of a person. They just can't live without them, and it will drive certain people to insanity. And I think what the Philippou brothers do here that works so incredibly well is showing a person that is driven to complete and utter insanity when it comes to losing someone that they love, showcased in a very absurdist way when it comes to incorporating the occult and certain things that the movie tries to depict. But I think that that's a really important theme and topic to weigh on, because everyone goes through it. We all lose people we love at some point in our lives. We all have to deal with grief and suffering and pain due to the loss of a loved one. And I think showcasing it in this very extreme way worked very, very well. And I really liked how bleak it gets. Some people can't stand when a horror movie ends on a very bleak and sour note. But I always really like Talk to Me took me by surprise because of how bleak that movie ends. It sort of reminded me of Frank Darabont's The Mist, which is a movie when I was younger I didn't appreciate because I hated how dark it was. But now as an adult, I really appreciate it because that is horror. Horror is making you feel something very visceral and hopeless in a specific moment. And I really liked that a lot about this movie in particular. Like the end was a huge gut punch in like the most impressive way possible. And this definitely a very body horror movie, but it's much more a family drama, two separate family dramas essentially coming together, that I think works really well because the Philippou brothers are very talented, and I cannot wait to see what they do next. This is easily one of my favorite movies of the year, and I already can't wait to watch it again. So have you seen Bring Her Back? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely incredible. It floored me. It's one of the best horror movies of the year, and I already can't wait to watch it again. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.